Okie dokie, Caroline, you're up.
I'm actually going to ask one of my students questions because she couldn't be here today. She contacted me yesterday, and so I've taught one Reiki 1 and 2 this year, and it was online. I did it in September. I guess it was earlier this month. So she's very new and fresh to Reiki, right? And the only experience she has ever had of Reiki has been using Zoom or using FaceTime or, doing a distance session with people. So her question is, how do I explain how and why distance Reiki works? People are asking, I talk about the pure consciousness and the power of unconditional love, but I need more practical information. Is it working with electromagnetic fields? And I think that was just a kind of a broad question, but the main thing that I want to give her is like a very short and practical way of telling a non-Reiki person how this distance Reiki works. Because like you're talking about skepticism, we're in North Louisiana. So it's a completely different type community than y'all are experiencing up there, And this student of mine is actually a Zen Buddhist nun. So she is going to use it to, in her community with that. And she's also teaching meditation classes locally. And so these will be the type of people that she's going to need to explain about distance Reiki to, and how is that credible, even though you're not touching someone and up close and all of that.
It's a really great question, Caroline, and I don't know if I actually have a concise, short answer that would be believable across the board for a person who is not believing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say my own skepticism originally was included. It was through experience that I'm aware of its, I'll call efficacy, through the actual results that I saw. So just like regular Reiki, just like in-person Reiki, we have words we can use for it. Reiki is a stress reduction technique. And until somebody experiences it, they can't really understand what we mean by that. I know for myself, even that quick term is like, well, it's so much more than that. So how do I talk about it in a way that says more than that without, the 20-minute explanation? Mm-hmm. And even if I do the 20-minute explanation, can they really understand it without experience? Like you could describe what chocolate tastes like forever. Until you taste it, you don't know. So the first thing would be if she could do some distance Reiki to give people an experience of it. Mm-hmm. But she could also say something to the effect of, it's a Japanese stress reduction technique that is also able to work through the distance, through a distance. I have recently really become aware of the electromagnetic fields and how they are relating to Reiki and how we are really just starting to perceive them. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that Anne Baldwin just wrote a book on the science of Reiki, and I haven't had a full chance to read it. And I'm hoping that she actually has some explanations of it from why the physiology of it works. She's a professor of physiology at the University of Arizona. So does anybody else here have Anything?
Yeah, actually, we have some great comments, and then
Okay, great. Thank you.
yeah, and then Jermaine, I'm gonna we'll go to you, but
Tell you what my first inclination was to tell her that in the spiritual world or the energetic world, there is no time and space. To me, that's pretty simple there. And then if anyone needs more information, I referred her to isn't Einstein's theory of relativity about how energy and light move, and there's no time and space with that either.
yeah, I like that too, Caroline. And there's a couple things that people put in the chat that I just want to say out loud because it lends to the conversation. I'm sure that you can see it, but Linda said that I often use the power of prayer as an example. Prayer from any religious background or to the Great Spirit. I think a lot of people can relate, can at least understand the concept of prayer. And then Jermaine said, I'm a Zen Buddhist, and most of us don't focus on cosmology, but rather what we see and experience with our five senses and being present. I'm also a Holy Fire 3 Reiki master, and what I suggest is combined distance Reiki and Zen. What both have in common is stress relief and being mindful and present. And then Patricia said, how about the fax machine? I was like,
Oh,
yeah, you're right. Like, how does that work?
Well, now that she says that, I think, oh yeah, I have said that. It's just like radio waves, television waves, internet. There is so much, and that's one of the things that's shown up on the electromagnetic fields is the awareness that it's actually one of the earth elements, and that we have non-physical senses as well as physical senses. So our see, touch, feel, taste, smell, those are our physical senses, but our intuition is a non-physical sense. Our instincts are a non-physical sense. So those are the ones that are activated also in this distance energy. But yeah, that is a good one too.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about what you just said, Colleen, with the radio waves. I mean, I am by no means any sort of expert, but a radio wave, it's like it goes up, it broadcasts through a transistor tower, and then an antenna picks it up and plays it through your radio, right? So if you think about the Reiki practitioner as the broadcasting antenna and the receiver as the antenna that then comes through your radio. I mean, radio waves exist, right? We know that. And these are just a different form of energy waves.
That's a very good practical explanation.
I really like that, Robyn. We need to capture that.
Yeah, make a little graphic.
A little thing of like, here's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are some great illusions. Thank you.
Yeah.
They really are. And I'm so glad to know that I'm not the only one that's had problems making that more concise for people.
Yeah, no, we're right with you.
It's like the universal issue.
Yeah, because my experience now in the past 6 months with what the energy, has done and everything in my life is I prefer the distance sessions now. I prefer being in my space and them being in their space. There's something a lot stronger and more powerful about it. So I want to be prepared to tell people too.
Yeah.
We actually, it's one of the things that we talk about and are talking about. Shelby is another part of our team who is marketing, and she's just great at putting words together. And so we will definitely share it as we come up with those things. But I do like that idea of something that I guess kids still know about radio waves, right?
Yeah, so
The younger
y'all said
generation
that. That's
internet.
what I thought. I was like, an elementary kid would understand that. If you talked about TV and the TV antenna and moving the antennas around, or something like that. Because that gives them a visual to go by.
Yeah, or satellites. They probably understand satellites and how we get it to our phones. How does that, it's the same idea.